Alright, I got some lights working in the hangar bay. What I did is I put another set of lights back here to see if I can get this thing to see how much this thing will actually glow on the sides here. And I think we might have enough light that I might try a couple windows on these sides. So yeah, so I did that, did a jumper, and then there's the jumper for that. And then I did the masks on the ceiling, and I did a couple masks in here. So we'll have some light coming through that way. So we'll have a couple, and I tried even on these little shootouts, like on the Enterprise, the old TOS Enterprise has those too. So I tried a little masks on those. So yeah, I can start hitting these with light blocks. I'm gonna have to tape these backs off on these, at least the sides here. Don't really need to worry about the bottom. And we'll mask off the top because we need that clear so that the light will come through. We don't get overspray or anything over on this. So I need to mask that off and mask this back and sides off. All right, well, I got the light blocking on here and did the same on here, but actually got a coat of paint of the ceiling color down. I'm going to do that the darker of the grays. So just wanted to show you where that's at. So I'm going to start actually getting in here and painting, and we can get some decals down. I can actually take those masks off, and then we'll hit it with a clear. All right, peeled the masks off on there. Had a little bleed there and there, but that's easy to clean off. But yeah. And then there we go. We'll have some light coming through there. Yeah, and I might even scuff a little bit here to give it a little diffusion. But no, that's going to look fine. Awesome. Well, got this all painted up. Ceiling is painted up and got a clear coat on it. And also unmasked. How did I have this working last time? All right, there you see. And the side windows. They even got those little tunnels that glow. So that's working. So I'm going to get ready to decal all this. I did put a clear coat. Sealed and resealed the window. And we're going to get ready to put these decals from HDA Model Works that came with this. You got some doors for in the back and sidewall. I'm not going to be using these because we masked the windows off for this. So there'll be actually light coming through them. Instead of they have the black ones for dark windows and then the yellowish ones for on windows. So we're not going to even use that section. I thought about maybe putting some dark ones that make it look like some are off, but I think that's unnecessary. So, and it looks like they give you two different like shades. I'm going to go with the darker red because you have these for the two walls. I guess they give you extras. Really, you only need probably that one. And then they give you extras of each shade, where this is more of a pink, a lighter. And then same thing with the side. There's a side door. And you got two of them, so they give you extra. Then you could go with the darker red. I think I'm going to go with the darker red. I think it looks a little better than that. And then these are your floor decals, which you only really need one. The other one's an extra just in case, which is great. Also, what I did is penciled the sidewall because I might hit this. I probably paint it with some white or silver, but I think what I'm going to do is I have some of that silver tape, and I'll cut that in just to get more bouncing around to try to get this wall to glow more, because I think I'm going to put some windows on the side of that. So I went and put some silver tape to get some little more light bouncing in here, and it was a little quicker than painting it with silver. Even did a little bit in there too, so it's definitely helping. More exciting part is the actual hangar bay itself. Those windows glow good. Kind of get now. I'm not going to be able to do it in this angle. You can see them do it a little bit, but all the decals are on the back for the doors, and we got the floor. Even the door on the side walls. I actually got those to work where they're chipped out, where they have windows. And the nice thing is they look black since I didn't take the black off the other side if they're dark. And once we put that ceiling down, that's what it's going to look like. And we got two shuttles to go in there. I hit them with some white paint. They'll go in there. I might not worry too much about the backs of them. That's why I painted them when they're still on their supports, because I think I'm going to have them one completely backed up on here with its nose facing that way, so you won't see the back part. And the other one I'm probably going to have more, maybe a little more at an angle, but still you won't be able to see the back part. I'll still clean them up and hit it with some white, but it doesn't have to be pretty. But I just wanted to show you that update. It's getting to now to we can actually glue this guy in here. And it'll fit in there like that. I think I'm going to pre-paint this rim the hull color. Probably the same up here. And then I think we're going to put this all together. Well, first I'll have to attach this to the bottom and get this door at the right angle it's supposed to be. I think if this is extension, the red extension, and this is the green extension, it's not in the middle of between the two. It's just off. Like if this is the arm of the red extension, it's just off like that. So we'll do that because we got to get the wires down in and connect this to that wire, and then make a through going all the way down for the base. And then I bought some tubing for the right size of this. It actually gave me different size silver tubing, and I got some brass as well. So instead of, I don't know why round two's giving you rods. I don't know if it's cheaper for rods than tubing. Now, I got some jumpers going on here. I got one coming through, which will go to the base. It's coming down through here. I already drilled a hole back here into the post. And I'm going to cut the post the same. Where is that little? I'm going to make my tube the same length as this rod that came with the kit. So that should give me plenty, because this, more of this will come down. And I think that should give me plenty. I can always tie more, solder more. And then the blue and the black is coming from these lights. And tied that in. And then I have another jumper that will go up through the top and tie into the other two. And I can either shove the extra in here or up in that other part. Yeah, that's going to be nice. Yeah, that should give a definite little boost in this model kit. This old mech kit. It's always fun to me to make these older ones a little more accurate and get that out. What a good thing. I forget who I got this off. It was some Etsy buyer. Now I could probably print it myself, but I love how it has for this bottle, and then you got your other two. You can get this to start coming out. Sometimes it's stubborn. Oh, it's coming out right away. Nice. You really got to have it on the face side. It's really just riding the inside of the top part. You got to be careful not to get your finger in it. No, I think that'll work. What I do at first is just loosely hold it, let it wick itself in there. That's the wonderful thing about the extra thin. Is it'll wick itself in the thinnest spots, and then you squeeze. Yeah, I like that. And we'll go in there and paint those doors like a hair darker gray, I think. I think that would be the best way to do it. Like the ceiling in here. Now you do have a gap in the ceiling, which is interesting since oh, and you do on the sides too. Oh well, we'll have to see how much light leak we get around the sides. I can always get tulip in there. Yeah, well, I didn't check for that. We got a nice fit on the bottom, which is what you're going to really see anyway. Let's see how bad it is. Probably should have went with this longer one. Oh, it's not bad. Even on that gappy side. It'll kind of, the way the room's so lit up. And this side's really good, actually. Not bad at all. For you to get at that angle, and then you're going to have this arm here, so you're really not ever going to be able to see that one with the extension arm coming right about here. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I thought we'd have this big bright light since it's not really making it around the horn. You can see how it's shadowing. So that's why I'm saying most of the lights are going to be back in those areas. Yeah, and you can't see the gap that's up in the ceiling. You'd have to be way below it. So no, I think that's working good. You guys can see the ceiling there. Kind of hard to see. If I do that, it just turns into a big white mess. There's the ceiling lights, looking good, and you can see the back wall lights. Can I get some of the sides? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and those little protruding stations are working good. For me, I can turn that off. And, you're getting a little bit of washout from the actual ambient light, but you can see there's a light on in there. I'm happy with that. Once you get the shuttles in there, it will look even better. All right. Did quite a few things here lately. All these are got their masks on there. Actually, got this one and I think that one glued on. We got to glue these on yet. And I got some masks on the Habitat pod, but I used some of the yellow ones are from Aztec Dummy from leftover from either the NX1 or the refit. I think it was the NX1. And then the blue ones are from HDA Model Works. They had those little square ones. And then I made a little antenna for on the side of the pod because it shows an antenna. What else did we do? Masks are all. I did some light masks or window masks on the where the shuttle bay is, and actually got that glued on and attached, so it's working good. Started sanding the really bad seams here. I got to finish that up. And then we can actually start hitting this with a black primer, start light blocking this, and then look and see where we need a little more love, because I'm sure there's going to be somewhere. There we go. And we don't really have to worry about these fogging the windows because I went through and already scuffed them with some Scotch-Brite in there. All right. Well, that's a joy because I was constantly knocking those things off. Now we need a little antenna on top. And I got to figure out what we want to do with that base, if anything at all. Might look for some type of. I know there's a symbol for like the star bases. All right, we got a heck of a seam on this antenna. Ammo releases. Oh yeah, that cleaned it right up. Let's see how it works on a. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That just sits there. Interesting. Right there's a little booger, and that's mainly from where the sprue is holding on. See if we can blend that in. I guess that just sits on there. There you go. Let's get some glue on it. It'd be better to put it on here. Now we know this antenna is not the most accurate thing. I think there was other things going on up there, but that'll work. Like, why am I not getting anything? It's because the negative was not making a connection. There we go. We got our strobing, our marker lights going. You can see the red there, and you can see the yellow there. So that's the best way to do it. And our shuttle base lit. And it's lit quite nicely, not overly bright. So I say we're getting down to it. Just got to clean up those seams a little more. I got it mostly rough with a file and some 320, and then we'll go in and hit it with some finer sandpaper. Like I said, I think we're pretty good on doing another application, maybe a thin coat of it. I think it's always hard to tell because you can't get in there and feel it as well as you would like to. But I'm going to let this run again. We'll let these dry. It's getting late. And we'll come back, we'll clean up this, and we'll start hitting it with some primer. Well, all right. I got a primer on there. It turned a little hazy from the humidity outside. Been real rainy the last couple of days. But no worries. That's just a moisture that's in the see how it actually starts coming off. That was in the paint. But oh no, it's good. Even our joints from underneath and those aren't too bad. I'm okay with that. So we're off to start. I think we can start painting this the gray. Well, here we are. She's got her whole color. I went with a lighter gray, figuring because we're gonna dirty it up. Subtly, I guess. That's what I'm shooting for. It might get dirty. We'll see. I'm debating on what things I want to do. That was fuzz. Especially with these ribs. So I just want to shadow them. And then I'm definitely going to do some, like, fake paneling on these. Because you see that. But yeah, I'm happy with the seams. And the ones in here, which are the heaviest, I'm okay with. They're not 100% perfect, but they're good. They're even. They look smooth. So I'm happy with that. And all the seams on the saucers are great. Even the pod looks okay. Now it's pretty much removing masks. Or do I leave the masks on? Oh, I might have to do the colors on the tops. That might be, yeah. Because we're going to want the top mask and the window mask because it does cover, I believe, the first row of windows is the color of that extension. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we do have to paint. We have some painting to do. We actually got to do the red, green, and yellow, and then the blue here. And I'll have to see if I can see some actual pictures of at least try to make this antenna as close to authentic as possible, at least color wise. Well, okay. I went and powered this thing up, and I noticed these areas still had a couple little light bleeding issues, so I went back and hit them with some black. No big deal. And then we'll go back and touch it up, which I'm about to do. But I did get some of the windows off on these areas. We'll have some window frame touch up to do for sure. But I don't know if you can see. But yeah. So even down here on that, that's glowing good. Of course, the shuttle bay is working. But those windows came out very nice. We just, like I said, that black primer is not my favorite. So we have some little crackly areas. And but all in all, down there pretty nice. Up here we have some window frames we got to fix a little bit, but not too bad. Up this big cone was easy, but these little cones were being a little bit of a stubborn on the light blocking. Probably because I didn't want to over heavily spray them with black with these little masks and stuff, and then you go to peel them off, and it wants to all just peel right off. So tried to be as light as possible, but I should have did a light check while it was still all black, and I forgot to. All right, we're back to being all gray again. So that I believe worked pretty good. Okay, dirt from my hand probably. Yeah. So back to where we were. And I think one thing I realized I got to do probably first for stuff popping off these windows is we got to do the colors on the domes. This one will get a blue. This is the red, green, and yellow. Well, all right. Got the masks off on all the windows and started painting these tops. And then I was trying to paint the clear top. It's hard to mask this little cone, even with the thinnest pinstripe tape I have. So I think what I'm going to do is just wear the tops. Maybe take a little Scotch-Brite and just try to clean the tops off. But all in all, it's coming out great. Painted the little hanger doors down there, so the hanger's pretty much done except for adding the shuttles. But I am happy with it. I had to go through and light block some of these areas. I hit them with a hull color. But all that came out good. And the masks peeled off fairly nice. Not too bad. I mean, they were a hair oversized, but they still worked good. It's more like when you start getting to these smaller upper windows. It was hard to find one that was really that small. And more length, not width. Not this way, more this way. They were a little overhanging into other sections. These are a neat little tool for grabbing really small stuff, but I noticed this one doesn't go down deep enough in its tube to grab this small wire. I even cleaned off the top of the little beacon up there. I think you can get a some idea. Oh, look at there, because I only did black around because I didn't want so much paint to go through. So I only did black, and it's glowing through the colors. That's actually not too. That's actually kind of neat because it does tell you what section this is in. But yeah, it's glowing red, green, and yellow. Yeah, because instead of bringing the black paint all the way up here, because I don't need to light block that, and then it would be more paint to actually have to clear through. Because being that this is craft acrylic, it's like the red, green, and yellow are these really cheap. I wish this thing would stop doing that. The green and yellow are these real cheap Hissy Co. Yes, but they have weird colors like this orangish yellow, and so a little thicker of craft paint than say the nicer Anitas or folk arts and stuff. But I just wanted to show you that I'm pretty happy with it for an old door kit that, seam wise, it came out fine. I think we hit all the seams. I might see a little bit here which I could actually fix. But once we get these tops cleared, then I think I'm going to clear coat it, and we'll get a wash on it, and then we'll decal it. But I'm going to say we're going to try the cleaning off of these tops of these cones. Okay, I got a clear coat on here so we can actually get a wash going. And the clear coat really made these cone windows look better. Got rid of all the little bit of gunk. So all that looks good. And these little tops came out nice. Yeah, we'll get a wash on that. Start working on the shuttles too. They'll be the last thing to go in. And these are going to be rough because just for the fact that it's not like it came with any decals for it, because it would be way too small. So we got to give hints of stuff. So we'll have to hit the nacelles with a little gray, and then top the caps white. So that kind of, you can see that there's a different in the color. And then we'll just probably do some 3 dabs of gray to try to simulate the window shields that slide down. I guess they slide. I'm not sure what they do. That, like when they're landed, the windscreen's not, it's protected. So we'll probably do that and then try to get some red stripes to do the Federation red stripes. I might have to use a marker. It's the only thing that's going to get it that thin. And then just a little black scribble to assume there's some type of writing on them. And we can start working on the base. This was just a 3D printed rod. Or should I say tube, because they give you a rod. That way I could just have this on the stand and still have a way to get the wire through. But I did order some tubing in silver and brass. There's a lot more in brass. They give you a lot more different sizes. So that's what we're doing, and I think I found something to put on the base. This is the Federation. It even says Deep Space Station K-7. I'm going to cut this brownish bronze background out. You can do it in the program I have, but you got to sit there and like draw around your image and to erase what's the background, and I'd have to zoom in really fine. It's just easier to print this out, and I'll just cut it out with scissors, and then we'll place it on here as a decal, and then hit it with a clear coat. But I actually have to hit this with a gloss. Okay, got a wash on. Got her lightly dirtied up, and I'm fairly happy with it. So I think what I'm going to start doing here in a minute, I started doing some of the rings here on those, but I think I'm going to hold off and get some decals down. That way I'm not touching certain areas. Although I probably should, because there is a stripe that goes. Yeah, where did I do with those decals? There is this stripe that goes around the center. So maybe I should, now that I think about it. But that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to finish off these rings, which isn't really hard. I'm just using tape, and then I'm using a pastel and just brushing it on. Actually, I figured I might as well show you guys this. Let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit better. Maybe bring the camera down. Hopefully I don't get all out of. Sometimes I lift up and I get out of view. But what I'm doing is just taking. Oh, I already have one out. I just keep reusing the same piece. And like on here, I'm just starting here because we're already kind of getting some dirt from the wash that stayed up there. So that's working okay. and just kind of wrapping it around. Only one edge you need to make sure you got a good, where the two wrap over. It's a nice line. It's not doing something like that. It's not wrapping weird where the two pieces of tape come together. You still have or where the one piece overlaps, still have one good crisp line. And then get my pastels here. I'm just taking it and just rubbing it on the black a little bit, and I kind of like to go like this because it grabs it better. You can go this way too. Doesn't really matter. I'm trying not to go too heavy because usually these panels, when you do these like almost fake kind of panels, are fairly light. But the nice thing about pastel is you can knock them down a little bit just by wiping them a little bit, or they'll also soften when you actually put the clear coat on. Oh, and what's time for a new piece of tape because you're trying to split. And there you go. You get that line like that. You can do it with airbrush as well, where you do the same thing and just kind of spray right about here on your tape, and you get that little bit of overspray on the edge. And then what I'm kind of doing is then I'm just taking my finger and lightly softening it. And you can, once you get rid of the majority, you can kind of give it a rub both ways, and then it kind of really softens that edge. You want a crisp, kind of a crisp edge, but it doesn't need to be extreme. Yeah, we want to start with a new piece because that one was tearing. And in this one, I'm going to place it right where that other one ended, even though it has that's where the pastels went that way, but it's giving me the good segments and it's not pulling any off. So I keep starting in the same spot. So let's choose your first one's your dirtiest one. You can do light ones and dark ones. But this way usually gives you a softer hit because you're kind of hitting on the tape first. Like there, I got a little heavy. You're kind of hitting on the tape first and getting rid of that initial first hit on the tape. And you're gonna watch it too. Your hands will start getting dirty. Like I said, the first pull, I pull it in the direction I want it to go, and then I'll rub it. Like I think that's too dark, so I gotta see. Sometimes you can even take Scotch Brite. It's a little too dark, and just slightly. Hit it with Scotch Brite. This might be sticking a little. Yeah, see, that's working. That's a way to soften. Sometimes if you have washes that are sticking too much, you can soften it with this. I had that problem on the yellow extension. I had to thin out my wash more and put a little more water to alcohol ratio because it was flashing too fast too. I also went and painted this dish a darker gray. I think it's better. Me personally, it gives it something different. since there isn't much of a color thing to this except for the tops of the cones. All right, we'll do the next one. Like I said, I'm just lining right up to where this last seam was. That way all our panels are nice and same size. And like I said, some of this might look intense now, but once you get once you get a clear coat on there, it's gonna almost wash it away in a sense. It's gonna dilute it because it's gonna kind of soften its effect. Yeah, now see how that's not lined up with that? I didn't check that. There we go. The ship is so large, you can't have the light down and spinning around. You're always hitting, I'm always hitting it against the light. Like I said, sorry if I'm getting off screen anywhere here. There we go. There we go. That one's got a little more definition than the other one. I'm trying not to touch them once I get it on there. As far as like grabbing this one. It's looking a little on the dirty side. That's all right. This is a deep space station. It's not like they're coming out here and cleaning this sucker. I gotta be careful when my hands pick up some of the chalk. I'll start putting it on where I'm grabbing. That's okay. I decided to go with a little bit of a dirtier space station than I initially thought. It's like, let's make this K-7 look like it's been out and being abused since you last saw it on the original series. All right. So, decal time. And I'm not going to bore you with just decals. They're fairly seen decals go on. Of course, we'll do the United Federation of Planets. That goes pretty much right here, dead center, like if this is the front of the vehicle. Now, what's weird is the K-7 on here, according to stuff I see, is actually almost centered on this line. And then so are the little KA, I think it's KA, KB, and KC. They're all off, pretty much centered on that same one, off centered. And I guess they're kind of, I really don't understand why they're doing that. I can see maybe here because if you're a shuttle approaching, you can see, off angle. But yeah, I don't understand why everything All of them are off. If you look direct, like on the actual extensions, that would be where this beacon is. That's kind of your center line with the pylons here. And yeah, they're all off tilted, same way. Also, what's weird is they'll have the three, the number three. There's these little 1, 2, 3s, which I have no idea what they were really representing. The three is here. You think they'd have like something else on this side? No. Now I had to move my windows back a little bit. The way they were showing them, they were up here a little more. I had to move mine back because the way the lights inside were glowing, it was shadowing here because of the shuttle bay. So the two probably would fall about here if these would all move up. The two, well, I'm going to have to put the two right here. Or no, the one. The one goes here. The three is on the other side of the shuttle door, right there. Then the two goes here. And then there, or the one goes here, and then they're saying a two would supposed to be go here where I added this other window. Now maybe I'll keep my numbers down low so I can maybe get that number under that window. And like I said, the three is right there. And probably what we'll do is we'll try to cheat it more away from the door. It's kind of weird how it'd be. It'd be like 1, 3 should be right across, and 2 should split it. Which I would think that 2 would be more here. If it would split that cylinder in 3 parts. Yeah, you'd think it would go 1, 2. Maybe that's how we'll do it. 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. But remember, this whole shuttle section is, like I said, is off. The windows are, like same distance from the shuttle door, and then we have the back windows. But since this is all twisted, so I guess shuttles can come in this way instead of it being directly in line. That's going to throw all those numbers off the center. All right, decals are on. Not much decals, just they give you a lot of stuff if you want to kind of make your own thing. So I'll save those because those are good Federation font. But yeah, you could have made this like a C9 station or whatever. But there we go. We got the big United Federation of Planets on there. Like I said, these things here are pretty much centered off of this bar here. And that's for all of them. As you can see, the KA for this extension. And then it goes KB is the yellow. And then KC is the green. And I got the little stripes on the arms. And then we have the 1, and then the 2, and then the 3. And that is where the 3 is on the actual filming miniature. Right up the side of that door. Now, like I said, these windows should be like here, but we had this little shadowing from the shuttle bay with how much the light would glow this side. So I moved them back. But that still allowed the 3 to be there. It kind of threw off the 1 a little bit. The 1 probably would be right here. But it's not bad. I mean, I could have centered, well, none of it really makes sense because I consider these clusters of windows back here kind of the center of the back, because it is. Right here's the shuttle bay door. So that's kind of why I did that. And then I wanted to put one big observation window right there. So put the 2 there. It would be really close to the 1. And then the 2 would be here. And then the 3 would be way over here. So this kind of breaks them up pretty good. Like the ones there, yeah, it's almost in a line with the 3. I could have brought the 3 probably over, but I wanted the one in between the cluster of windows. But I could have brought the 3 maybe over a little bit, but it's not too bad. It is what it is. That's how they did it. So we trying to match it, but like I said, I had to move these windows back. I kept them up where they wanted. We would probably be a little more aligned. Well, I think we'd still be a little weird. Yeah, either way, there's no like, okay, 3 is here and 1 is here. Where they're right across, and then you just have 2 here. And then if you had a 4th number, it would be right where the shuttle bay door is. That would be great. It was, shuttle bay door 2, 1, 3. It's pretty close. Now it's 1, 3, and then 2. If you look at that, okay, there you can see the 3 and there's the 1. Now it looks like those windows might be a little closer to the door than the. Yeah, because of the 3 being there. So yeah, everything's off askew. But I'm happy with that. I'm gonna let these set before we put a sealer coat down. And really, that will be it for the station. We just got the little shuttles, and we do, and the Enterprise, or at least a constitutional class, because they do give you a little Constitution class. They even give you this little cone to put it as a stand. I think I might. I was thinking about coming off with a little wire. I'd probably come off the actual main base with a little wire and have it flying around like that. We might do the on the base. It'd be kind of nice not to have things drilled into the. I don't know. I'll have to look. I don't know if we'd want to like drill a little pinhole and then have a little wire come up to hold the little Enterprise. So it looks like it's floating out here. All right, decals are on, and we got a satin coat, matte coat put on it. So as far as the ship is concerned, or the space station, but all in all, pretty good. We got a little bit of silvering up here, but with it going over these humps here, there probably was a little bit of an airspace that allows air to get trapped. But these came out pretty good. I think there's a little silvering there, but you really can't see it on most positions unless you do that. But awesome. But we just got to get the shuttles in there. But we can start actually finish this up. And here's the base, all dry. And we got that. Probably won't be able to see it. It's going to glare and everything. And then it says K-7 Deep Space Station. And it has a picture of it. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a plaque. I found I don't know, I think someone made it. But it looks pretty cool. I don't know if that's an official Deep Space Station plaque or what. But wanted something on there. All right. Well, here's the tube to replace the rod that they gave you. And I marked it there. So we're going to just cut this quick. And then we can permanently mount this guy. Oh, this is thick metal. Yeah, it is a pretty thick. There we go. But that's kind of nice because it'll be able to hold a pretty heavy ship, even with this little tiny rod or post tube, I should say. All right, there we go. And we'll just take it to this thing and square off that really raunchy cut. And what I did is rounded off the edges. Already burrs. That silly thing was one of the best stupid things I bought. I think it was like $40. It's just a generic cheapo belt sander with a polish wheel you can put on here, and then you can actually take. Let's see if I can get like you can actually take this off, and you put another wheel on here, and that'll give you a grinding wheel. And you can have both on at the same time. Or I think you can put the grinding wheel on the other side if you want to keep taking this one on and off. We'll put the cut in down in there. Oh yeah, like a glove. Like a glove. Now let's see if it's a little tighter on the ship. That was the only on the station. That was my only concern. It was real loose. Just that plastic one that I made. And was it more to no, that's it's probably was the flexing. I mean you got a little wobble, that it's holding it straight. Because I might leave it unglued because then you can do that if you need to. Now this being the last time I gotta do this, it's probably gonna fight me. Yep, there we go. I think I got it. Yep. Beautiful. Let's turn you this way. See if I can get a light that way. See, maybe zoom in. There we go. Guess that's a little better. There. Now, it's the best I can do to get the light out of both our ways. All right, we can shove extra in. We'll leave all this extra. Now, use this to create a hook. Because I always like to get a hook or some type of twist in what you're soldering. Beautiful. Beautiful. I like when I see it seep to the other side. Cut off these little extra lengths. And there we go. That should be the base. There she finally is. Yeah, she's sitting nice and level. Very nice. And we can still give it a spin, and there should be enough wire that we won't get overly tangled. All right. There she is, K-7. Next job is the three little vehicles, and we can call it. We can call it done. But I think if I do a little wire out like this and have the Enterprise right there, that would be neat. Probably keep them below these so I can spin these and it won't get knocked into. Yeah, have it like somewhere right about here, almost at the level of the shuttle bay. Well, okay, I think I got these marked up as best I'm going to. They're so small. So, but they'll work. I'm liking that. And I started working on the little Constitution class. So that's got its coat of paint on. We just gotta do some highlights. Like I don't even know if we try to make it look like something's written on the brim, but we can do the top tips of those red. I think those are a dark gray back there. And then we can hit it with the normal, or just leave it the normal hull color there. And then we'll hit the copper there. We'll leave the top of the bridge alone. The bottom's not quite detailed quite right. That's all we really can do, and then try to make a stripe there and a stripe there. Okay, ready to put the shuttles in. I gave them the best little paint job I could do with such a small, I mean, that's how big it is. And the little Constitution plaques, which I think I'm going to do a little wire coming out here and just make them like right about here or something going on. But let's get these shuttles in. I'm going to use this Gorilla Glue. It just doesn't cure as fast as the two-part. Try to get a little dab. But instead of using like a super glue, let's see if I can actually see in there. I don't know if that's blocking you guys. All right. Hopefully it's doing something. I put enough. I'm hoping it'll weigh itself down and actually attach. And then this being a clear, it won't block anything from underneath. If there's any light leak trying to get underneath it, hopefully it'll stop it. Now this one, kind of wanted to put out a little tilt. Oh yeah, I got room. All right. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Have that one a little bit out of twist. Like I said, anything that oozes out. Oh, that one was a little bit more than the first one, but it'll dry clear. Mostly coming up through the front with the two nacelles on the shuttle. reasons. Now with 2 shells on the shuttle, some of it might want to push, but you won't see it because it'll dry clear. All right, now we just got a last thing to do on the K-7 space station is you. Yeah, that should work because I want it tight too. If I can get it that way. All right. Well, I guess we can just create a bend, and then we can cut the extra off of what goes in there. I mean, you can make it work. I love these bits. They're so sharp. That's a question. I want to try to glue it in there first. Probably should have glued it in there and then tried to bend it, but sometimes it gets hard to bend when you're out like this. But I'm wondering if I should get it glued first, because if I try to glue it with the weight of the vehicle on top, that might be fun. Hmm. All right. Yeah, it's going to be trying to hold that. I'll have to use super glue. Hopefully, it gives me a little bit of time to get this straight. Oh, it's trying to set up real quick. Yeah, that ain't that other junky super glue I had. This stuff's been working good. This XR Pro. And it came with a thin, a medium, and a thick, and then a KR Pro. I think this is an XR. Was it? Yeah, an XR Pro, and it came with a accelerator and aerosol. I kind of tend to like the pumps, but it was a whole package for really cheap, so I ordered 2. Can I cut this excess off without breaking the bond? Nope. Well, the nice thing now is I can go like this and make sure that it's the way I want it. Yep. And I'll tip her back over and dab a hair more super glue on it. I might even be able to get a little more like this. There we go. Now, hopefully, I'll use this as a gauge. And we got to get a tiny hole. Probably even too hard for you to see that way. Oh, you can see it there. But we got to get a tiny hole in the bottom of the Constitution class. Cut that old peg off. Let's use my good nippers because it should nip pretty close. There we go. And then we got to drill a little hole. I'd really like to get that a little smoother. This plastic's pretty soft, so it don't take much. Alright, we'll have to touch that up. That's not a big deal. And let's put a little hole here. You don't have to go very deep. You gotta watch it. These little bits are sharp. And they're kind of like almost self-guiding. Now, right now, if we were to stick her on her, she'd sit way up there. If she's coming in from like that. But we want to get her down here. I might even trick it. We'll probably have to get it. Let's get it down lower. That's kind of neat. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. It's like it's zooming around in a circle. I think we'd like to bring that probably down a little more then. If that was like that, that would be great. I wonder if I can give it a bend like that. Oh yeah. Is it? Yeah. I like that. Oops, sorry for bouncing into the camera. That works for me. You can even spin her around and make it look like it's leaving. All right. I think we are done. Yeah. Well, let's remove all this and get some beauty shots. Well, all right, everyone. She is finished. We're going to call this one done. It came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's a kit I've had for a long time, so it's about time I get it done. The little habitat station looks good. Let's see if I can spin all the way around. You can see all the lights. Even those came out good. When I make it a little darker here, you'll really see how well those came out. Yeah. Trying to spin it back the way it was. And the little beacon on there is working great. So everything's working awesome. Let's get a little lights turned dim. There we go. So I think they're still putting this one out. Not sure if they've done another revised version of it, but it's a good kit to have. It wasn't really that bad. Let's see if we can get a shot of the the shuttle bay, or is it going to be way too bright? Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got the shuttles in there. There we go. Try to move it so we don't get that light. Nice. And there's our little Constitution class. Whoops. Just got hit by like some power wave. But I can spin them to put them in directions I want them. Kind of like it like that. It's coming underneath that one. And there we go. AMT's K-7 space station, or Deep Space Station. And not sure what we're going to come up with next to work on. I think it's going to be the Nebulon D frigate from New Hope, and you see it big time in Empire. So, till next time, thanks for watching.